even though Mohbad wasn't there,
Yeah.
if you see Zlatan, the way he's behaving there, it's as if nothing ever happened.
Which is the no. When you look at his eyes at the way he was wearing the hood on the day
And
Mohbad.
Send
Uncle
them to
Sir,
me now.
and
Send them
Uncle
to me.
Sir,
I will send them to you.
Yeah.
Uncle
Yeah, I
Richie,
send them to
I
you.
want
Yeah.
you to
My
listen. He
WhatsApp.
said, replay that voice notes VDM released. He said, Zlatan, show Denny help me ni. Akọkùnrin. A president and a bully. That's like crying.
Yeah.
During that period, everybody was rioting, you know. He was
Yeah.
feeling the heat. And until now, he is still feeling the heat. That was why you see him coming out. I mean, that is why you saw him.
No, I think him coming out. Honestly, I think it was a damage control that gone down south. He never knew that there would be a backlash like this because he's not. For me, he's not a very smart guy.
Uncle, you don't understand what I'm trying to say. Let me tell you something. If you have a problem, and you are able to handle that problem, it's not showing on your face, it's not showing on your skin. Yes, that means you can handle it. The moment
you can be cold.
Okay, let me use an example of like an ailment, like when somebody is sick, maybe cancer or some, you know, when something like that happens to somebody, you will still see them, but the moment it gets out of hand, that means the person cannot handle it. You'll be seeking for outside help. That is what I see Sam Larry doing. So many things are not like they used to be for him. So
of course, things are getting, you know. That's why I say.
And also, sir, he's not the one that killed Mohbad directly. Maybe they have a hand one way or the other, but he's still not happy. We are all human. He's still not happy seeing Wunmi throwing herself. If truly she's the one that did what happened to Mohbad, you understand? And they cannot speak out, so they have to one way or the other be triggering the thing. You understand what I'm saying? Because they are suffering for what they did not do. They've been doing other ones, but this particular one, you know, for me, I just want to be watching.
Everybody will take their own share of the issues. That's what I can say. You know, the video that we saw of Sam Larry with Mohbad, we're just very fortunate to see that clip, right? This guy, that's not the first time he's going to Mohbad, disrupting the shows and blocking him off and all that. I don't know whether you guys understand that. It's not. It just happened that we are very fortunate to have that clip. All of that bullying, physical assault, we didn't get a chance to see that. It was because that actually pinched Mohbad a lot. That's why Mohbad said, "Okay, you know what? Enough is enough. I need to report this issue." And so when you look at the whole thing, Sam Larry, Naira Marley, or whatsoever, they all gangs. And I want to believe that the connections between Wunmi through Sam Larry is quite strong because she never mentioned, this is what I find a bit disturbing. You know, maybe it was a slip of tongue. She never mentioned Sam Larry throughout all her audio broadcast when she was going around the people. Even though people highlighted that issue, she should have mentioned it. Even the day he was calling about this,
So, but you know, no matter how strong ties, as in the tie, their friendship, do you think they are still best of friends right now, as we speak with the situation?
The wall is cracking. No, the wall is cracking on them 100%. I understand that the wall is cracking. So it's like everybody's trying to protect themselves, isn't it? When you look at it, everybody's running. How would I say? We use this Yoruba, running kitty kata kata. You know, and I strongly believe something is about to come out, you know, which is going to be a shocker. I think for me, they know something that we don't even know. When you look at it,
do you notice that the music industry now, all these guys, all these artists, they are not making music like before because nobody's interested. People are like, I don't think they are making, they are just doing their thing, but nobody's playing music like, you know, everybody's listening to them like before because
there's a dark cloud over the industry, right, at the moment. Because let's be realistic, there's a lot of people look at Belash Muda, you know, he was bragging and all that when he was in Canada. I think when he got back to Lagos, he has to humble himself. Who knows whatever that's going on around that kind of sudden change of character and a sudden change of that behavior. Who knows? And when you look at even when Olamide came out to kind of say, wow, Olamide came out very emotional, and all of a sudden everything went quiet. Yeah. So when you see all these things, one cannot but wonder what's going on. Yeah. This is where I see it. And it's a big crack. It's a big crack. I don't know how they want to patch it. It's like you have a whole house and you saw one crack by the angle of your window, thinking, hey, what's this? So, yeah, we'll see how they want to do it. But for me, I think Mohbad is still fighting. And if you go down the spiritual side, once they buried him, the fight will even be much stronger. Because that's when he actually, when his body touches the ground, and it's actually more powerful than any of them. Yeah, maybe the little that we're seeing is because his blood has already touched the ground, right? Maybe that's what we're seeing at the moment. But the guy is not just normal person. That's the mistake they made. It's not normal. He came to fight a fight, and his death wouldn't be in vain. That's the way I looked at it.
And Sadichi, why is Wunmi not coming out to talk about this all this thing that is happening? Like disclaimer, debunk. Because the one that Sam Larry said,
I'm still going about, right? When you look at it, I believe Wunmi is being guided by a very strong legal advisor, right?
okay.
Because when you look at it, the only time she ever came out is then that 3 seconds video, all the zoom mode and all that. That's when they all run. Even Baba Mohbad came out to debunk it, and then Wunmi granting almost 3 different stations talking about what's happening, mentioning people's name, that some people are really biased against her and all those stuff. And he mentioned he even reiterated about the industry god and all that, and retired about the bullying, but he never mentioned Sam Larry. That's a bit serious for me. She was so clever.
Okay.
Maybe she doesn't want to be sued directly. Who knows? But
Sam Larry has mentioning her name all the time, but she has not ever one day. She also doesn't know Sam Larry.
Yeah. So I just pray that I was talking to somebody, there was a father this before, and then just early afternoon, that the best thing the government can do for these guys to actually implement a law, maybe they call it Mohbad's law or something like that, that they make the music industry more transparent about signing and put some conditions, some prerequisites and all that. Yeah.
You know what, yeah? This thing might get cooled off based on the outcome of tomorrow's whatever. There's pressure outside because they are worried about what is going to happen tomorrow. If they grant Baba and his legal team the opportunity, or should I say, if they win their case and they're able to put these guys back as part of those that want to charge as per, obviously we know they want to charge them for bullying and all of that, but if they can link it to, maybe during this bullying it developed, like what we spoke about this morning, maybe it led to high blood pressure, stuff like that. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Then there's a reason, that is why he's jumping, this is why all of this thing is out and about and everyone is running helter skelter. Sam Larry looking for a way out. If he gets denied, he's going to go back to his comfort zone, and all of these things is just going to die down again.
No, it won't fizzle out, because now, even if the report tomorrow doesn't favor Baba Mohbad, there's still a civil case that can be set up against these people.
But what's the punishment
Yeah.
for bullying?
I think I was reading in Nigeria, you can get up to 10 years, isn't it? Depends on how severe it
You can
is.
get up to 10 years, and at the
Yeah.
same time, you could even get a fine.
But looking at what's happening, it won't be a fine in this case. You know why?
Why?
If you remember, I asked you that question, and
Mm,
you actually told me because I was looking for it. If you bullied somebody and that person died within 1 year and 1 day,
mhm.
right, that becomes a kind of a concerned case to look at, right?
Is it if you bully somebody or if you fight somebody? If you don't
Yeah, it's
forget,
part of the assault. If you
don't-
assault,
yeah,
let's
but
put it
don't
that way,
forget. Okay,
assault.
now let's put it this way. He assaulted him, right? Then there's
Mm.
another fight with this guy. What's that guy's name? Prime Boy. Which, in my opinion, there's another fight now, which I think that overrides what happened to the Sam Larry beat. I don't want to sound like I'm
The
defending Sam Larry.
I don't know. I like what you're doing. The
Mhm.
prime boy thing. There wasn't
Yes.
any physical altercation on the side of prime boy, according to him. That's what we believe. It was aggression from mobile, and you cannot put that as an assault. Even yes, you can say the driver narrated about me locking mobile shed. Right,
That's
that's
an
a threat.
assault as well.
Yeah, that's a threat to life. Yes.
So
Now,
now,
but
putting both together, if
yeah.
Sam Larry, I just don't want to. I don't want to defend. I don't want to
Mm.
defend Sam Larry. I don't want to sound like I'm defending him. You know what I'm trying to say.
No, no,
But
no. We've been
people are
very
recording.
objective.
That is why they'll call me Team Mumi again now. They'll call me. That's why I'm
No,
being
no, no.
careful.
They
I know
already
you're
dragged
not.
him today. They say he's still woman. They will drag
You
him very
understand? That's why
No,
well.
I'm being. That's why I'm being careful. Like, if
no.
he has a lawyer,
I know you're not Timumi.
yeah. Wait,
For sure,
if he has a
100%.
lawyer, if he has a good lawyer, the lawyer will fight that. After, okay, yeah, I agree that
Mm,
my client had a fight with this person,
mm.
but there's been another fight, which
Yeah,
is the Wumi versus
yeah.
Mobad.
You know what they would look at,
Uh-huh.
based on what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, they've looked at the magnification. The magnitude of this thing. And when you looked about the constant bullying which he has suffered, even demonstrating all the bruises on his body, upper body, right? That stands a lot more chance than the last assault, right?
But Sarichi, that depends on how strong his lawyer is.
Yeah,
That
I'm
depends
just
on how
saying,
strong his lawyer is.
yeah, what they will say, let me put it this way. If you want to go by the last assault,
Mm-hmm.
what they will say, okay, according to the witness, which is the driver,
Uh-huh.
they will ask you, locking that shirt,
Mm-hmm.
what was the position of Mohbad? And how did they disengage?
But
Right?
wait, hold
But
on.
now I'm gonna miss we are
No,
going
sorry, you're
somewhere.
going to answer everything together. Wait, now.
Yeah.
Sam Larry did beat this boy, let's say in June. Now in September, Mobad went to fight somebody, even though he he injured himself, right? So he's injured himself. There's another injury on his body now. So do you want to now say the injury that Sam Larry gave him in June or April or whenever is the injury you want to look into and not the one he just sustained that the
Okay.
nurse came to treat?
I'm going to go different direction.
Oh,
You're right
yeah,
about all those
go
things,
on.
right? One of the things I'm going to look at, right? If I'm working on the case, I want to look at which takes a longer continuous um reflection of which one that Mubad has exhibited for a longer period of time, which is the bullying. So I'm going to put all those previous wounds, previous injury, previous crying out to the time he went to the hospital and all that, right? That has a detrimental effect on his mental health. That's a very strong one. Because don't forget, bully kills people silently. And this guy was fighting this bully. He fought to his last breath, right? He was emotionally, mentally disturbed, damaged, if I use that word. His only escape route was his music. Apart from his music, he's kind of introvert, right? He was paranoid. Paranoia included making the right decision, right? Which affected him. Like I said, his only escape was the music. That's why you spend 20 hours. Imagine spending 20 hours in the music lab, just coming out and then go back inside.
It's Richie,
So I'm saying,
The autopsy, yeah.
yeah,
Did they see injury on his body?
I would not know.
Nobody has even. Everybody were focusing on stab wound, but nobody ever asked if there
Yeah,
was injury sustained during Sam Larry's
yeah,
bullying and all of
yeah,
those things. Nobody paid attention to that.
yeah.
So
No,
that's another angle now.
listen, I'm just saying,
Why didn't Wumi say it? Why didn't Wumi come and say that it's an injury?
no, listen, I don't know. Let's be realistic. When it comes to the bullying and assault, right? We all saw those the physical video evidences. And along the line, you know what's more important? If you read through Mobar's Twitter handles, that's the 6th of October 2022, says a lot, right? About what was happening to him right from that 2022 up to his last day on this planet Earth, right? And he was the one that wrote it. Nobody wrote that for him. He explained everything. And on many interviews, he actually, he was still pointing to, still reflecting the damage he has suffered on most of his interviews. He was dropping some hint in the kind of life that he was experiencing. So when you look at all those things, if you put them together, right? If the police want to actually or prosecute this case, those are the things they will put together, not the last days of his life. I'm talking in the direction of bullying now, right? If you want to separate it, and at the same time, when you look at the last one, Sarulan, which is what you mentioned, that's within the catchment of a year and 1 day thing that we're talking about, right? And yes, you're right. When you look at the last altercation in terms of he had a fight, a bit of struggle with his spouse and all that. I'm talking about from the evidence. What actually went on inside the house, we don't know. Unfortunately, we're not privy to that at the moment.
Mr. Richie, don't forget,
Yeah.
the nurse did not come to the house to treat the injury he had during the bullying saga. The nurse
Yeah,
came to the
I
house
know. That's why I said we should try and separate it. Even though as much as we're trying to link it, we should separate the sudden death. Are you
yeah.
getting right? So if we have to go by the nurse situation, remember I told you something. Yes, the nurse is a quack nurse, right?
Yeah, but the
Maybe,
woman see,
although
Mr.
maybe,
Richie.
maybe she never did due diligence before lacing mobile with those cocktail of
Yeah, but coming from
drugs.
the side of the team, Mumi, they want
Yeah,
to use the bullying because they want to clear. They want to say that bullying led him to depression. The nurse came, she did not check the blood pressure, and so they are linking it. Do you understand?
yeah.
So
Like I
they've
said,
gone
remember,
away from now. They've gone away from the fact that this person actually had another fight. He injured himself. He had a fight with his wife.
yeah. Don't forget that would actually, but let's be realistic. Saroland, having a fight altercation, right, with somebody who has already had an high blood pressure, that wouldn't help either. That's just the truth. Because that will actually aggravate and elevate your blood pressure for at least maybe 10, 12 hours. You
So
know
if
that?
that is the case, who are
Yeah.
you then going to fault? The person that had a fight with him in June, or the person that aggravated the blood pressure in the last
Okay,
minute?
but okay, now let's be realistic. Who gave him the blood pressure to start with?
Anything could have. You have to prove that it was the
No, no.
bullying. That wait,
When he was
wait.
diagnosed,
Our argument this morning. Wait, you
yeah.
have to prove that it was the bullying that gave him that blood pressure, right? I gave you different things that could give individual blood pressure, right? High blood pressure. Sorry, you get. I use myself as an example. You get
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say? So
yeah,
if we can prove that It was the bullying only that gave him high blood pressure.
Okay.
Then fine. But what if
Sarolan.
wait, let me finish. You don't
No, I'm going
forget.
to give you something. Honestly, please.
Wait, don't forget. Go to by what Naira Marley said. Naira Marley said during one of his videos that Mohbad too was having issue with his wife. Ìyàwó Ofunisimi kò jẹ́ kó rest. Da. I know when you're broke, when you don't have money, some women will frustrate you.
I know. No, that's that. Listen, I don't want to get into that, but that's a fact.
You have to take everything into
I know.
consideration.
No, but listen carefully. There are symptoms of constant bullying. And I remember I told you, when somebody have a consistent anxiety, you can easily develop high blood pressure. Hypertension, yes. It leads to hypertension. Consistent anxiety can lead to hypertension, mostly at his age. If you want to talk about hypertension in terms of hereditary manner, Mohbad will never develop hypertension at 26. It will be late 40s. Or maybe you can say late 30s.
But I told you.
Onset.
Wait.
So for his age at 26.
When you're talking about hereditary now, who says he has to be close 40 or earlier?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to say.
First thing first, let us go and check Baba Mohbad. Mohbad got any blood pressure at your Mohbad. Let's even start from there.
Oh, this sniper. I'm talking about. I'm really on top of this health stuff, right? At 26. You can never develop high blood pressure, even if it's hereditary. You can never develop.
So you're 100% sure?
100%.
1 second.
At 26 years old.
Okay, 1 second. Go on, continue. Go on.
It's about the age of arteries. Right? It's about the way you're at. But when you're under constant stress and anxiety for young people, that's when the high blood pressure sets in. Right? He was 26. There's no way you can have a high blood pressure at that age. It's either drug-induced or anxiety.
Can you see Alake 70 has disagreed with you straight up? Me, I'm even coming. I'm going to disagree with you. But someone that just disagreed with you, kids have high blood pressure.
That's an acute high blood pressure. That's an acute one. If that's what you want to say. Alake 70, yes, you're right, but that's an acute. You can have an acute high blood pressure. Yes, you can have high fever and then the blood pressure jumps up. You can have a convulsion, the blood pressure jumps up. Yes,
Prince Alake said, no, sorry, I have someone who is 28. High blood pressure. I'm coming. I'm going to bring fact out for you. I'm going to bring fact out for you. Don't worry. I'm
Mr.
coming.
Alake, you will have people, but
yes, you can come up, man.
What are the symptoms?
You can come up, man.
He just said now acute. Acute high blood pressure is different.
Listen. Yes, you can develop high blood pressure at 26, although it is less common. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
I will not say, listen, it happens, but I'm just giving you what can lead to it. That's what we're saying. It happens to Mohbad, right?
Exactly, but
listen, what constitutes that blood pressure at that age? That's what we're talking about here.
Can I please?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I've been listening, and Richie, I think there's a bit of confusion here. So you're both right, yeah, but in different ways. Let's look at the case of bullying. You said that if somebody is a victim of bullying and the person dies within a year, yeah, there's something called causation. So bullying is a criminal offense. If it's a criminal offense, there's the act that was done, the intention, and the causation. So if that bullying directly caused the death, it could be after a year. If it can be proven medically and with factual evidence that that bullying directly led to the death. Now, Sir Roland was also right in saying he fought somebody. That's breaking the chain of causation. So if I bully you last year, and you, from that bullying, like you said, you started to experience mental health, it affected your health, you must have been reporting to the police, which Mohbad did. He wrote a petition, which was not followed up. Yeah. So let's just look at the bullying alone, and then we'll come to the police petition. So that bullying in itself is an act of crime. So he died like maybe 3 months after. Remember, he also had a fight at the Malian house, sustained injuries there. He said they bullied him there as well. So if we're looking at Sam Larry's bullying in isolation, you have to have factual evidence. He wasn't there to continue the petition. He was called for questioning. He did not go. So that petition, I'm not sure it can be followed up because the victim is no longer available to give evidence. That's number one. So from that bullying, if he sustained any injuries from that bullying and he eventually died, and it can be proven medically that whatever injuries that he sustained from the bullying caused the death, then they can go back on that. But where is the evidence now in this case?
Yeah.
There's no evidence. Now, Sir Roland said he fought. That has broken the chain of causation. There was a nurse that injected him. That has broken the chain of causation. So you cannot directly link his death to the bullying. Not anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Now, so with what is going to happen tomorrow, my suspicion is, I don't know what they hold on the case file, because they've not told us. If Sanshito has enough evidence to persecute Sam Larry and Naira Marley, because what they are going for tomorrow is they want to bring these two people back, because they think that their actions caused his death. It's not about bullying. Tomorrow's case is not about bullying. It's about bringing them back to the murder case. They can't link it because there's no evidence. You can't, these people they have alibis. They were not in the country. Unless somebody comes out to say, with recorded evidence, like you have to have. So now,
a compelling evidence to change the narrative.
They can use circumstantial evidence. Somebody has to come out and say, I was there. I saw them do it. They sent me to kill him. It's quite complicated. So that's why I don't see them winning that case tomorrow. I don't see them winning it.
No, we actually, thank you, Alex. No, we discussed this extensively last week, and we know that it's a very narrow road. But what brought this discussion is about the fact that Sam Larry is jumping around and all that, and that's why we're looking at this. And you said something which I actually agree about the way this thing got broken because of the two sudden assaults.
And then remember, there could be
that you went through on that day, on the last days, right? And I agree with you, because even if somebody has an acute, let's just assume that his anxiety was an acute kind of high blood pressure. It's only when he gets triggered with this what do you call it, fight for flight. When you have the high anxiety,
yes,
yeah, which is that's what constricts your arteries and all that. So now, give and take that happens within the course of while he was having argument, he was boiling up in the car with his spouse, and then considering the fact that he has already had one altercation with Prime Boy, which is not pronounced, and then that means if he gets home, there's a build up for it, which I agree with you, right? Which then kind of put a break on what is happening previously to him. But if you have a compelling medical history, right, of high blood pressure, I'm not talking about undiagnosed. I'm talking about diagnosed high blood pressure, right? And that means you are potentially at risk anytime. Like you can have a strike, right?
There's something that they call something, take your victim as you see them. So if he had an existing condition, which is high blood pressure in this case. So if he had that existing condition and then suffered bullying, which triggered the high blood pressure and further complicated his health issues, which eventually led to death. Yes, you can't say, oh, he had high blood pressure before I bullied him. No, because you have to take your victim as you see them. It's just like somebody is suffering from, say, high blood pressure, like you said, We know high blood pressure can lead to heart attack and then death. And then somebody hits you on the road.
Which is dangerous. That's why you don't hit people, right?
Maybe a
Ordinary
drunken
slap can send
driver.
somebody to the grave.
Wait
Yeah.
now. Maybe a drunken, maybe you get hit by a car or somebody bumps into you, you fall
Yeah.
down, and then the person dies. Yeah. And then the person is trying to say, well, it was not my action that caused the death. He had already had, then they go to
Underlying issues,
the
right?
autopsy says he died of a heart attack, which was caused by the high blood pressure. You can't say, oh, it wasn't my action. It was your action. Because you have to take your victim as you see them. So even if you have
Yeah.
on the line, if there's a but for rule, they would say if you hadn't hit this person,
It will never get a spike.
exactly. So there's a but for rule, but all of this does not come into play here because there's no, like you said, if they go and check his medical history, they'll find out when he developed high blood pressure, what was the cause. So if the root cause was drug and alcohol, and he suffered from bullying, and that kind of exacerbated his health, which made him worse, and eventually led to death, then bullying caused it. But in this case, how do you evidence it? Do you have access to his medical records? We know Nigeria now.
That's it.
From one hospital to the other, treated by nurses. So there's no, how are they going to get that evidence?
It's not even documented. That's what we're saying, right?
Exactly. So even if it was documented, the chain of causation has been broken. So he was,
by what happened to him that particular day.
Exactly. So you bring in the injections from the nurse, which they're claiming caused the death. The fight must have again exacerbated his health, maybe increased his blood pressure at the time. The shouting, even the show. The shouting, even the show. So that bullying is gone. But if they're going to just take that bullying as an isolated case, using just that video that we all saw, it's going to be very
it's very unfortunate. Those things doesn't help. You know, if I went jogging, if you come back, your heart rate is very high for the next 2-3 hours, not the blood pressure. You know, until it takes probably about 3 hours before it comes down for all the athletes. You know, you find your heart rate is jumping over 70, 80, then the later comes down. And somebody just finishing the show and having that kind of high.
And then remember, he has drank alcohol.
Yeah.
That's
so
the blood pressure as well.
Yeah. Any kind any arterial injury will split blood massively. This is what I see, but we don't know what happened. But thanks for the clarification. But having said that, we still need to make sure those people doesn't go scot-free.
Oh, definitely. They'll have to find ways. They'll have to find ways. But in this case, it's just so unfortunate. They have alibis. They were out of the country. How do you, unless, like I said, somebody or a group of people come out with factual evidence saying these are recordings of you planning this, you paid somebody to do this, you paid the nurse, and then they have to look at it. The law is blind and the law has no sentiments. You understand? They're going to look at what is in front of them. You understand? So all
I agree with you on that one.
We're all angry. I just wish something would happen to pin these people down. But unfortunately, the law is blind. The law doesn't apply sentiments.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just so unfortunate. Very unfortunate. So, I think that it's a lost cause if they're trying to bring these people back in, unless they've got an overwhelming evidence that they have on their case file that they've not shared with the public.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that when you put pressure on these people, you don't know, somebody might talk.
Hold on the case file now.
Somebody might talk.
No lawyer is going to come on air and start saying, hey, look at all the evidence we have on file. We don't know what they hold on file. We don't know what they're going to present tomorrow. Do you understand? But from what we see, what we can see, there's no... The case is very, very... The case is very weak.
Yeah, I know. I understand what you're saying. People don't understand what the sentence that you mentioned. That law is always blind. They don't look at the emotions. Sometimes juror might be kind of lenient towards judgment.
Unfortunately, we don't have juries in Nigeria. They don't use jury.
Really?
No.
Wow.
Abi, do they?
Mickey, you didn't know they don't use jury in Nigeria?
They don't.
Wow.
They don't use jury.
Jesus.
Caroline, are they not still seeing us?
No, did you switch the account? Did you switch the
I
account?
did now.
Switch the
So
account
that
now.
so we don't have
Switch phone, rather,
jurors.
switch
I don't
phone.
switch phone and the other phone I use now.
Wahala. People can't see us from the comment section. Maybe they don't hack you.
But me, I can see everybody.
Yeah, because we're in the box. We are in the
I can
box.
see everybody.
Yeah, because we're in the box.
It's me.
If you drop, you won't be able to see us anymore.
Yeah, I know it happens when I was on Father's platform this morning. But once you request, then you see the panel again. I think probably
They want everybody to come up. So everybody send your request. Somebody is asking, where is the lady?
which lady? Alake 70 is one of us. So we
Yes,
Please
just
don't
been
see me,
Yeah.
me, I don't like roasting. No, I'm a very. I don't
no.
like
She's
roasting,
one of us,
beg.
and
Yeah,
I think
they said they can't see us.
you sound
But I
very
don't want
much
them
like
to see
somebody.
you.
Like are you in the legal industry, something like that?
Yes, I'm a solicitor here in the
Yeah,
UK.
no, you sound very much like it.
Mommy, I should start bringing all the cases I have to you then.
No, I don't do public cases. I don't work for public, and I can't even disclose where I work. Sorry.
No, I'm gonna look for you. I'll start looking for Alake 70.
I'll go and ask for Alake 17. I can Google me, you see me.
I'll go and look for Alake 70 because me, I want to start committing here. Very man know you. Now that I have mommy
Sorry, I'm
that
not a criminal lawyer. Oh.
which lawyer are you? Let me know. So I know the offense.
You can't pause for this case now. What is going on?
But yeah, me, I'm not a criminal lawyer. I don't major in criminal law.
Okay,
So-
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you must have colleagues now in criminal law that could help us.
No, I don't work in that area. I work in public services.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
But I know
But it's
criminal law.
good. No, you tend to know about all these.
No. Obviously, any solicitor so every solicitor, whether you major in, you would have done it anyway. You would have done
Exactly.
it. So
Yeah,
you must know the process. You must know, what leads to a crime. You would know. It's just that you don't deal in that.
Can you guys see us now?
They still can't see us. I tell them to leave and come back in. Tell them to go out and come back.
You guys have to leave and come back. Because
Or if they want to come up, or if they want to come up on the panel,
Let me switch again and see if it will.
don't switch anything.
Or
It
encourage people to tap.
Oh yeah,
Tap,
you have to
tap.
tap because before we have been on that 7-something K. That's why.
If you send in a request, you see it. Just like right now.
That was why I came down before. On my other phone, I was not seeing myself, and on this one, I was seeing. So that was why I came down before.
All right. So
Can I ask a question? What is baffling to me is
thank you.
they're using a SAN, which we expect to have very, very high level knowledge.
Can you guys see now? There's something I did now. I don't know if anybody can see now. Secret expose. Can you see?
Yes.
I wouldn't worry too much about this, honestly.
Okay.
No, wait. What I'm trying to say is,
Yeah.
you obviously, if you take your
No, it's not you. I wasn't referring to you.
Oh, okay,
like I
okay.
said.
So if you instruct, okay, Richie, you are my lawyer, yeah? I've instructed you to carry out, to bring a case to court for me, yeah?
Yeah.
And you tell me this case has no merit, it is weak. We don't have enough evidence. And I say, no, just go ahead and do it. As a lawyer, Richie, because you want to get paid, right? You're going to take the case, but you'd have advised me, and you'd have written a client care. Well, in this country, we'll write a client care letter to say, I've advised you, I've told you.
Of course, and I have to sign on the dotted line.
Just in case you come back to complain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in this case in Nigeria, I expect that as a son, bringing this kind of case that to us, the public, it looks weak. But like I said, we don't know what evidence they have on file. For all you know, they may win the case tomorrow. They may have very, very heavy evidence that we don't see. Because, they sound very confident.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a bit 50-50 on this.
Mommy, I
But
like
from
it.
what we see,
As much as I want them to win, I want them to win so bad.
Me
But
too.
At the same time,
it is weak.
no, mommy, let me finish. At the same time, Baba children will frustrate my life. So that is Baba children.
Everywhere
No,
for justice. You
for
will-
me,
Baba
for
children
me,
will frustrate me.
for me, honestly, I'll take whatever basketballs they give me as long as they win.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
That's my purpose. As
I'll
long
be
as
so happy if they can
But
win. These people should not.
if they win, I want them to win, yeah. But it's going to come as we let me put it, I don't want to disrespect anybody, but it will come as if we've been clueless.
Yeah,
It doesn't
but
matter.
we are clueless because we
No,
don't
that
know
is
what the sand holds on file.
Yeah, but when you go, there is this video that I saw. I don't know if everyone saw it. I think early 2023, when Sanshitu came out, there is a post where Sanshitu said they should. Why were they holding them, Naira Marley? I can share. I think I shared it to you, Richie. When
Yeah.
Sanshitu said, why are they holding them, Naira Marley and Sam Larry? That they've got nothing to do with the buying of mobile, right? And in 2025, is it this same Sanshitu now that is then saying they should? Do you understand? So I'm asking, what has changed? Was this
And it was this same
lobby for the
Sanshitu
case?
that said 3 things have been established.
It's the same person.
Yeah. Actually,
But if those 3 things were established, why
like I
try
said,
and bring this to
but that's not
court?
legal communication, right? 3 things has been established.
Yeah, and it stated the 3 things: the nurse,
Yeah.
Prime Boy, and what was the third one? I can't even remember
But
now.
man, another question for you, man. Did he use the word
So, Lauren, your audio is your.
No, you know, after there was an inquest, I think it was the one before there was an inquest that, you know, they interviewed Sanshitu after the inquest, and he said 3 things have been established today.
Because somebody has been arguing with me that he never used established.
Oh, he said it.
Of course, he said it.
Wait, let me share this to Naimoli.
That worries me when he mentioned that.
He
Actually.
said 3 things have been established.
Naimoli has been arguing
Prime
this.
Boy, the nurse, and I can't even remember the third
Come
one.
here, Naimoli. Come here. Because she
What was
actually
the
placed a
third
bet
one?
with me. 500K.
No, Sanshitu
That-
said outside the
That
court,
established
right?
was
He
never
said he
mentioned.
stood outside the court. And
Yeah.
I know I heard 3 things have been established. She said no, it wasn't established. She said, the Naimoli come here. Emma, so a lot about the day
those
will
3
come
things
back.
that were established did not include the bullying. It did not include crime.
No, bullying wasn't part of it at all. It was
Exactly.
more focusing on the nurse.
It didn't include Naira Marley and Sam Larry.
No, nothing as such.
So that is why I'm a bit baffled that they're trying to now bring them in on the murder case. How? On what
But
premise?
I don't. Yeah, that's the question. The direct link to the murder case is difficult to link them. Like you said, they have a strong alibi unless there's a compelling evidence. Maybe somebody.
Maybe, I mean, they could be outside the
speaking-
country and have a link to it. They could have hired somebody, unless you have that factually. Because now autopsy is inconclusive. So let's put that aside. If you're bringing a murder case, they'll have to use circumstantial evidence, which is factual, which is, I was there, I saw it. This is a video recording. This is a telephone recording of them planning. You know, it's quite, but they can still come into it. So, you know, when they start the proceeding in courts, when they bring the nurse and spending, if drilled properly, and if the nurse sees the way the case is going, like, you know, she's probably going to go for life or whatever she's going to go for, then it starts to spill.
Yeah, that's the point.
Spilling, and it's now people they'll start bringing in witnesses. You know, once they start bringing in witnesses, and the case is going to the direction of Naira Marley and Sam Larry having anything to do with the case, because they have somebody that has said, "Oh, I saw them doing this. They were here. You know, they did this. They sent me to do this." That is when they can now bring them and they now prosecute them.
But do you know, actually, let's just assume that maybe the nurse takes a bait and all that, and maybe they've already said to her, "Don't worry, you'll just be like a minor, a slap on the wrist kind of sentences," and then in court,
let me correct you, Richie.
Yeah.
So if she's not a nurse, that's criminal negligence. She's not a nurse.
Okay.
So she came to treat somebody. That's a criminal offense.
Yeah.
Unless you know Nigeria, we know Nigeria, anything can happen. But if we're looking at it in an ideal situation where everything works, she's not a nurse. They've called you to treat somebody. You're not a nurse. You've treated somebody and the person died just after you gave that treatment. Yeah? And so the autopsy is not revealing anything, but you actually did. So she committed a crime by going to treat somebody. So that's criminal negligence, although
without the right qualifications, right?
Exactly. So I mean, you can't go and be working. So that could be impersonation, don't you think? Because why would you go and say I'm a qualified nurse when you're not?
Yeah, that's impersonation. But on the other hand, you said negligence. Are
That's
you saying
criminal. It's
negligence will
criminal.
be a manslaughter charge or what?
Criminal. So that's not. So they won't look. We'll look at it in terms of recklessness.
Yeah,
No, there's
obviously.
recklessness. So she
Yeah.
was reckless. So and
Yeah.
it's criminal as well. Well, I can't say manslaughter because we can't directly, because the cause of death is unknown. So we can't say she killed, but I guess she could be going for, criminal negligence. If I was the one, I would want to sue her for criminal negligence. But I don't know how spending comes into it. Is it because
Exactly. I was going to ask you about spending that.
because I don't know. So maybe what they're trying to say is why would spending invite a nurse that is not qualified? I don't get.
Do you think they're supposed to invite the person who actually placed the call as well, which is DJ Bami?
Anybody can place any call. DJ Bami doesn't know the nurse. So if you give me a number, you tell me, oh, this is the number for the qualified nurse. I've only called that person. I've not done anything wrong.
So are you telling me that DJ
But
Bami?
if you maybe they're trying to say you knowingly called an unqualified nurse. But how I'm trying to see how that's.
But I'm coming from the angle of DJ Bami now. Are you telling me that they can't say, oh, DJ Bami plan with the nurse? Who's got more tendency to plan with the nurse? Spending or DJ Bami?
He's spending
Because he knows
spending now. Spending is the one that introduced it. That's
He's
what
the
I
one
gave
that
you.
knows the nurse. He only gave DJ Bami the number.
So are you saying DJ Bami can't say them plan with the nurse?
Well, the nurse has to say that because we don't know. Because from what we see, from the facts on ground, DJ Bami has no history with the nurse.
Exactly.
Spending has a history with the nurse.
And if you want to go that route, they're planning with the nurse, that means we need to look at all those cocktail of drugs, right? And then you need to look at the specimens of that or the manifestation of that drugs in Mobat's body. And we're not privy to it anymore, unfortunately. Which makes it a bit difficult.
It's just a very easy case, yet complicated, because evidence has been destroyed. People are not telling the truth. It's just so sad for me. I find it very sad.
What's really complex for me? Sis, what's really complex for me is the fact that the story of the North doesn't align. It's not correlating. Number one, then the aspect of them coming out in the middle of the night and all that, and all the evidences on the ground pointing to that this guy passed on Monday.
Okay,
so that means
it's a case of your word against mine. So if
we have evidence,
the driver comes and says, "Okay, yes, 3 a.m., blah blah blah," he's the only person. He has nobody else to back that up. Does he?
I think Adura mentioned that as well.
Adura said they went out at 3 a.m.
No, Adura said if somebody say that he saw his brother.
Yeah, but that's different. You said something about Wumi coming out at 3 a.m. saying something has happened.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You're talking about the driver's testimony now.
Yeah, I'm giving like 3 different instances pointing to Monday.
Oh yeah, nobody is arguing that too. Yeah, I believe it. I believe that happened on Monday.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe it happened the very, very early hours of Monday.
Yeah. I want to say maybe 2 hours after they got home, something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Tuesday story. I don't believe it at all.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if that Tuesday story doesn't fly in court, then the nurse will be in problem.
To say, give a statement that he died on Monday.
Sorry?
I thought Baba gave a statement that
No. That was a press release in Punch. That's the only time we saw that. It was an article actually, and saying Baba said he died on Monday. Apart from that, I don't think Mr. Loba has ever come out to say he died on Monday.
Yeah, but I mean that wasn't under oath. They would take his testimony from the court.
Exactly. I don't think he ever mentioned anything like that.
They're going to ask him again because the inquest is who died, what killed him, and how did he die. It's not who. The inquest is not about who killed him.
I know.
The inquest is about when.
Yeah.
How? Who? So they already know it's Mohbad. They already know, but the question mark is on when for us. But the inquest, the reports will show Tuesday, because that's what they stated in the testimonies.
Yeah. But when you look at when you look at all those little stories that, okay, we can call it little stories because we don't know what's been put on the CTC. Like the moms try to reach them and all that. And then the communication between the mom and the spouse kind of pointed towards Monday, because it was Monday that the mom called.
Yeah,
and then again,
she kept saying, you see, when it comes to criminal cases, people can come with stories. This woman can come and say she's neurodivergent or she has ADHD and she doesn't have sense of time.
I know.
If they say, what would you say? Me, I don't know the difference. I was just talking. I was perplexed. I was anxious. I didn't know what I was saying. I meant to say Tuesday.
Yeah, that happens a lot with that.
I'm neurodivergent. I have learning difficulties.
Yeah.
They may come up with a lot. Just
Yeah.
If she comes up with all these things you're saying, your mommy, don't you think they're going to go test her to be sure?
In Nigeria. They will go and get doctors. You can pay doctors. We're talking about Nigeria now. Saroland.
Yeah, I get
happen in Nigeria.
No, but Baba legal team wouldn't just let them just go. They don't want to supervise it. They want to, this is not a small case. This is not indoor case.
How can Baba's lawyer go and supervise?
So let's take for example
if I say in court that I'm neurodivergent or I have learning difficulty, whatever, these are not physical illnesses, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I get that. I get that. Yeah. You're going to see an expert. So
listen, Sarah Roland, you don't need to go there.
My daddy, wait.
Your question something like this. If I said to you that I'm depressed, how will you diagnose me?
You're depressed. You're depressed. Hence the reason why you said, on Monday, about Tuesday. So depression, you come on Monday from Tuesday.
Of
don't
course.
Forget, this is not don't
it can
forget.
Happen, if I'm depressed. I lose sense of
I know.
Let me defend myself. Now,
don't let us give them those kind of information.
Wait first. Let's we'll analyze it. We're talking. Let me defend myself. So we're not asking now to come and tell us what happened in 2023. Don't forget, this woman did the interview a couple of days after Mohbad died. He was still fresh in her head. Not now. He was still fresh. And you're telling me not one, not twice.
If I'm going through shock, I can't think straight. I can say something now, and you ask me tomorrow, I say something different. Because I'm going through a state of shock.
But she said it 3 times.
It doesn't matter.
So the fourth time, depression was low.
No, you don't understand. It seems you're very naive.
I know they agree.
Let me give you an example.
I know they agree.
I'll give you an example. I have a friend who went on the general anesthetic, right? Just an example. And for some reason, I think the time lapse of when he was put to bed, put to sleep after the operation. Anyway, this anesthetic normally affects people. And then I was the first person that he called, right? And I was talking with this guy. If you see the words that was coming out of this guy's mouth, I was very, very, I nearly attacked him back. But I just thought, maybe he's feeling the pain and all that. And lo and behold, it wasn't only me. He called his company, blasting everybody and all that.
Yeah, those things affect the brain.
Exactly. And then until 2 days after, I was just saying, listen, come on, call your doctor. You have to establish what happened. Until he called and he was in tears. They told him that, listen, it was a mistake. I think we gave you too much of this thing. And yes, this affected
it. Of psychosis.
Thank you, psychosis. So, coming back to you, Sarah.
Temporary psychosis.
Exactly, temporary thing. So what I'm trying to say, and thank you, is what I'm trying to say. If Mahmoud said at that time I was going through some hallucinations, which is a temporary issue, you cannot diagnose it.
She could say she was shocked, she was overwhelmed, so many people coming. She didn't know what she was saying. She just kept thinking Monday when she actually meant Tuesday. And when she gave her testimony at the inquest, she didn't say Monday.
Yeah.
They're not going to use all these. I
And
mean,
the depression did not. Depression did not affect the 5 million naira thing.
Oh, I think your microphone.
And she did not. The depression did not affect the 5 million she was going to get.
selected,
Sarita as
selected.
well. If she wants to give excuse of being, mentally unstable, they have to look at the line of her how she was, like the line of the story she was given. So if she was like mixing her words, then you say, okay, it has something to do with her being mentally unstable. But if you see the way she was so accurate with the timing. She left there on Saturday. She went to church on Sunday. She
Evangelistic.
was praying. She was
Evangelistic.
praying on Monday by 9 a.m.,
Evangelistic.
10 a.m.
Let me stop you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say something which you're going to be funny. Have you ever been with elderly having dementia or Alzheimer? When they talk to you, they're very serious on the way they will talk to you. Extremely serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So you can't
like she's
even
gonna be
know
tested for that.
until somebody warned you.
You can't.
Or somebody warned you that person is so patient. They sit down and tell you a story about their life, and you believe it.
But what does it even matter? I know you're trying to point out the honesty, this dishonesty in the story. But what does it matter if he died on Monday or Tuesday? What
For
does it
me,
matter? The fact is that he died.
That would change the whole thing.
How will it change it?
The nurse,
We unravel the story around
the nurse said he
those.
came to the property on Tuesday at 2:30.
So what you're trying to
Who was the nurse treating then
so
on
what
Tuesday?
what you're trying to prove is the dishonesty. So
Yes.
that dishonesty just destroys the credibility of their story.
Everything.
Makes them guilty. That's what you're trying to prove.
Exactly.
But how are you now going to? So if they insist on their story and there's no other evidence saying that, they had a hand in, the buy or whatever, how are you going to prove it? How does the dishonesty?
Okay. You know what's going to happen, right? If there's anything pointing out that Mobile actually died on Monday, right? That means the police needs to buckle their belt, swallow their sputum or whatever, and go back to the drawing board and start the investigation afresh.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So they said they could smell something on his body. What's that against?
Organophosphate. Yeah.
Yes. You know that is a toxic substance that destroys.
Yeah. Of course.
That they've destroyed the evidence.
I know.
So how are you going to find out the actual day of? So if the police decide to launch an investigation and decides to carry out another autopsy, because they can use anything to find out the day. I mean, they have an idea of the date of the death, yeah, and all of that has been destroyed because they've put that substance on the body, yeah. How?
Yeah.
Well, so isn't that going to be a futile effort? Because they can't get.
You know why? You know why?
Because that organophosphate, I read up on it. It destroys the.
I know.
To the
it's
bone,
a powerful. It's a powerful insecticide. It takes and it destroyed any.
It destroys everything.
Yeah, I understand, but let's come back to that, right? If it happens that the police going for extensive investigation, right, Mr. Lake, remember we spoke about digital forensic, digital footprint of all these guys. Phone forensic, that means and then follow the account, bank account transaction and all that. So what you're not looking for is you're looking for so many things. Right. Surveillances have to be mounted on all these guys, right? Yeah. And it happened, they will sleep.
So what you are looking for is a confession.
Yeah, that'd be strong, compelling evidence.
So you're looking for a confession. Don't you think that is far-fetched?
Sorry, it's not far-fetched.
So, but
listen, it happens before.
A confession may come, but not now.
Yeah, not now, but not immediate, of course. But I'm just telling you, it can even be immediate. You don't know. Somebody might just show. Somebody could show. Listen, let me tell you this, right? When it comes to okay, let's just go to a bit psychological now.
Mm.
You've already